Welcome to today's English lesson, which is another SPAG lesson, and today we're going to be focusing on apostrophes and, more importantly, using apostrophes to show possession, okay, not to show contractions, to show possession. So we're going to start by watching a little video all about apostrophes.
The apostrophe can be used to show who things belong to. If an item belongs to something, the apostrophe shows us who, by sitting at the end of the noun. Ha-ha! If that noun doesn't end in S, the apostrophe brings one with it. This shows the crown belongs to the magpie. Usually, if a noun already ends in S, then the apostrophe just brings itself. Whoa-ho! This shows that Mittens thinks the magpie belongs to her. Plural nouns work in a similar way, like when the whole pack of dogs are trying to own Mittens. And when two people own something, one apostrophe after the second name is enough to show they both own it.
Okay, so an apostrophe looks like this. You can see it on the screen there. It's got a number of jobs to do in our writing. Sometimes it shows us a contraction where two words, like cannot, have been contracted and put together to make one word, and the apostrophe shows you where missing letters are, like can't, won't, don't. But one other job that it does is to tell you if something belongs to someone, to show possession. So it's a nice picture of me looking cold. And you could say it was cold in the house that belonged to Mrs. Robertson. That's quite a clunky way of writing. It's quite long-winded. It's a lot more words than you need to. You can say it in a more efficient, neater way. You could say it was cold in Mrs. Robertson's house. Okay, so Mrs. Robertson's house has got an apostrophe S. The house belongs to Mrs. Robertson, so it has an apostrophe S to show possession, to show that the noun house belongs to the person, belongs to Mrs. Robertson, okay? And that's a neater way, it's a more efficient way of saying that sentence, okay? It was cold in Mrs. Robertson's house. So this is how we write a possessive apostrophe. Number one, you write the name of the person that it belongs to, okay? Number two, you then add an apostrophe here at the end of the name. And number three, you add an S after the apostrophe. So we have Mrs. Robertson becomes Mrs. Robertson, apostrophe S, Mrs. Robertson's. Okay, those are the steps you take. So let's have a look at some examples. What if the noun already ends in an S? For example, this dog belongs to Charles. It's Charles's dog. Okay. Charles already ends in an S. So you could write Charles's dog. It's not a very neat way of writing, and some people do write like that, but actually a better way to do it is to put the word with an S, and then at the end you just put an apostrophe and you don't add an S after, you don't have a double S. So you just put the name with an apostrophe at the end, like that, Charles is, okay? And that's how you would say it. It is Charles's dog. So let's have a go at doing that. The muddy feet belong to the brothers. Here we've got the brothers. The muddy feet belong to them. You can write that as the brothers' muddy feet. How would you write that? Where would you put the apostrophe? So the important thing to note is here that the noun is brothers. Okay. The noun is brothers, it's a plural. The word already ends in an S. So have a think. Where would you put the apostrophe? Right, just add the apostrophe there. The brothers' muddy feet. You wouldn't say the brothers' muddy feet. You would just put the brothers' muddy feet like that. Okay, because it's already a plural. It already ends in an S. Okay, right. What if the nouns are plural? What if there's more than one? For example, the books belonging to the children were untidy. So children is the noun, okay, that we're having the possession of, that we're adding the apostrophe to. The children's books were untidy. So you would write it like this. Children, there's our noun, apostrophe S. The children's, so children becomes children's, more than one. Okay. What if an object belongs to two different people? For example, the sweets belong to Daisy and Lucy. They are Daisy and Lucy's sweets. So if there are two people, two names, the apostrophe S only goes on the second name, okay? Like here, Daisy and Lucy's. It doesn't go Daisy's and Lucy's sweets. That's not how we write it. We would say Daisy and Lucy's sweets, okay? So let's do a quiz and see how much of that you've understood. Ready? Question 1. What can apostrophes be used for? When someone's speaking, to show possession, or surprise? What do you think? It's A, when someone is speaking. Oh, Kristen. Oh, that's not. Okay. What can apostrophe be used for? It's, drum roll please, to show possession. That's what we're talking about today, to show possession. You wouldn't use an apostrophe when someone's speaking. That's speech marks. And surprise, you would use an exclamation mark. Okay, question 2. Which sentence is correct? The dog's tail. The dog's tail. The dog's tail. So here we've got dogs and it's got no apostrophe but an S on the end. Here we've got dogs and that has an S on the end and then an apostrophe. And here we've got dogs with an apostrophe S. So remember we said if the word ends in an S already, then you just put an apostrophe after the S. You don't add another S on the end. You just add an apostrophe on its own. If the word doesn't end in an S and it's just a singular word on its own, then you add apostrophe S. So here there's no apostrophe at all. That can't be right. Now, let's have a look here. The dog's tail. Tail is singular. Dogs on its own without the apostrophe would be a plural. So is that a correct use of an apostrophe? No. The dog's tail, the tail belongs to the dog. It's the last one. C is correct. Okay. Right, question 3. Which sentence is correct? The children's toys were new. The children's toys were new. The children's toys were new. Tricky one. Have a think. Which one of those do you think is correct? Right. The children's toys were new. So the toys belong to the children. Children already is a plural. It's a plural of child. So children on its own does not end in an S. So you wouldn't say children's and then add apostrophe S. So for that reason, first one discounted. Children's, so we've got children, apostrophe S, toys. The toys belong to the children there. The children's toys were new. And let's look at the last one to be sure. The children's, no apostrophe, toys. Toys has got an apostrophe there. Do the toys, something belong to the toys? If something belongs to the toys, then the toys needs an apostrophe. But it doesn't actually. The second one is correct. The children's, apostrophe S, toys were new. Okay, question 4. Which sentence is correct? Mittens is breakfast. Mitten, apostrophe S, mittens, breakfast. Mittens, apostrophe, breakfast. So mittens is the name of the cat. Mittens has breakfast. The breakfast belongs to mittens. Mittens is a word that ends in an S. So what was the rule for if a word ends in an S? Which one of those do you think is right? Absolutely right. It's the last one. Mittens, apostrophe, no additional S, because the word already ends in an S. Okay, mittens, breakfast. Right. Question 5. Which sentence is correct? Fran's and Sally's dogs. Fran and Sally's dogs. Fran and Sally's dogs. Now, can you remember what we said about if you have two names, something belongs to two people, how do you write it using a possessive apostrophe? Is it top, middle, or bottom? That's right, it's the bottom one. You only add apostrophe S to the second name, or the last name, rather, in the list, okay? Right, so today you have got to rewrite these sentences, putting the possessive apostrophe in the correct place, okay? The lead belongs to the dog, so it's the dog's lead. The paws belonging to the cat. The ball belongs to Mr. Bavington. The car belongs to Rachel, and the chickens belong to Farmer Boggis. So I want you to rewrite those sentences, putting the possessive apostrophe in the correct place. And if it helps you, you can go back and rewatch the video to give you some clues, okay? Right, good luck.